Thanks for that, Kylie. We're highlighting another company who's been providing resources to businesses for 80 years. George Johnson & Company is the first black-owned CPA firm in Michigan. And joining us to share details behind the firm and resources offered is Anthony McCree. Thanks a lot for coming in this morning, Anthony.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So briefly mentioned, they're 80 years. I mean, that's impressive for any company. Give us a little bit more about the history of the company.
Yeah, it's actually been 83 years this year. Our founder, Richard Austin, who was the first black CPA in the state of Michigan, founded the firm in 1941. And he's also the first black Secretary of State. He became Secretary of State in 1970. And when he became Secretary of State, he sold the firm to George Johnson. And George ran the firm until I took over about 7 years ago. So.
Yeah, such an impressive history for the company. What's it mean to be so entrenched in the community like you are?
Well, it's important. I mean, all the way back through our history, our firm has really been involved in helping businesses, small businesses, black-owned businesses, nonprofits, a lot of the companies in Black Bottom, Paradise Valley. Mr. Austin helped back then, and we're still doing the same thing today, helping companies from startup to Fortune 500. So.
Yeah, and you mentioned, you help black-owned businesses. Talk about some of the hurdles they need to overcome that some other businesses might not have to.
Well, sometimes they don't know what they don't know. Sometimes, when you start a business, you need a lawyer, you need a bank, but you don't think about the CPA until after the fact. So it's just helping them do some things up front that'll save some headaches down the road.
Yeah, CPA is important because the IRS, the tax man's always coming for their cut,
They're
right?
coming. They're coming.
That's
so,
right. Now, you also are big, you make a lot of donations to nonprofits. Talk about that. I think I read almost 80 nonprofits you donate to, or you have over the past?
Yeah, so one of our things that we did for our celebration for 80 years is we made it a point to contribute financially to at least 80 organizations a couple years ago, and we actually surpassed that by quite a bit. And every year we've been really focusing on how we can help nonprofits in the community. It's important for us to be a part of the community that we live, work, and play in, and we do that by means of financial support. So.
Yeah, and that's something, you like to be involved in the community you're in. Would you like to see more businesses get involved in that way?
Yeah, I think it's important. I think it's important. The community that you're selling your products to or services to, I think it's important to support those communities as well. So I think a lot of companies do a good job at that.
Yeah, and what kind of services do you offer? Do you offer the whole wide variety of services for CPA and other accounting offerings?
Yeah, we're a full-service CPA firm. Audit, tax, consulting, across the board. We focus on all those areas, but our sweet spots are helping nonprofit organizations, as well as larger companies in their employee benefit plan space.
And when you talk about your sweet spot there, what are some of the, if you could outlay a couple of key, things that they need to overcome or they need to come to you for a lot? What are the things they're coming to you to get help with?
So, for instance, nonprofits may operate for several years, and then they may get government funding that may require them to have a separate kind of audit called a single audit. And they may not know what that means, the complexities of that, so we can help them navigate that process, make sure they're in compliance with the federal requirements when it comes to single audit. So that's just one area where we've helped nonprofits in the past.
Yeah, I can only imagine how complicated things get when you own a business. If you're an individual trying to file taxes, you need an accountant now anyway. The tax code is so confusing. Anthony, thanks a lot for coming in, talking about the history of the company and all the things you offer.
Thanks. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about our firm.
Well, we really appreciate your time this morning. Hey, it's time for a quick break here on CBS News at 8. We're back after we pay a couple of bills.